Welcome to the podcast where Mercury is always in retrograde. It's your boy, Aaron.
And your other boy, Liz.
We're your hosts here, and we're back on our bullshit. And today we are going to be talking about musicals? Was it musicals? Yeah, it was musicals.
We're talking about musicals, and we're so excited to have a very special guest on the cast, the first guest ever on this podcast, so you should be very honored. And that guest is Heather.
Welcome,
What's
Heather!
up? Hi. Thanks for having me, guys. This is I'm so honored. And I'm really happy that you guys are talking about musicals, and I can't wait to not shut the fuck up for 2 hours. So,
Heather, do you know what a musical is?
Heather, you know what musicals are? Fascinating.
I know a little bit.
A little bit.
As
Jesus.
There's a playbill literally taped to the wall behind you.
There's 5.
Oh my god, there are 2.
And it's not even all of them. I just put up the best ones.
Oh,
I love that.
Excuse us. Jesus.
Yeah. But your embroideries are on my wall too.
Oh my
So-
god. For those of you who can't see, there are some beautiful embroideries done
Who
by
can
Liz
see?
at threading _ wildflowers.
Ooh, plugging my embroidery Instagram.
I am.
Thank you, Aaron.
Heather, don't point out the
Also-
logical fallacies
I'm
of
like,
my...
what? Who can see? Galaxy braining this. And it's like,
Jump into our Skype call, everyone. Thank you.
Just to gas myself up a little bit, there is going to be an Etsy store on its way. So,
Oh my
Your
god,
eyeballs
that's so
up.
oh
exciting.
my god.
yeah.
Congrats,
So,
Liz.
Thank you so
So
much.
cool.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm really excited. I have a lot of embroideries just sitting around, and I'm like,
Are you
you know
gonna
what?
do it before Valentine's Day? You should.
The Etsy shop?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe. I think I was going to try and do it this week. So maybe next Monday, next podcast, an Etsy shop will exist. Who knows?
Wow, a
God.
new woman.
Thank you. Yeah, 2020. I'm still on my bullshit, but with an Etsy store.
That's the way to be. So we're talking about
That's
musicals
beer.
today,
Sorry. Keep going.
and I'll start this time because first of all, I'm the most prepared because I actually give a shit. No, I'm
You're not
kidding.
even gonna let our guests go first.
I have no idea how to do
She
it,
doesn't
so
know
just
the
keep going.
format. You think she listens
I'm
to
a
this
roll
shit?
with it.
You think she
I haven't.
listens? Come on.
I haven't yet. I have 4 collective brain cells throughout my entire day, and it has to last. So.
Okay, Aaron,
Heather,
fine, you
you're
go
gonna
first.
pick this up so quick, and I'll start so that way we're not putting all the pressure on you. And also Liz started last time, so we, vice versa it along here. But the musical that I'm gonna be talking about today is Phantom of the Opera.
Oh,
Are
nice.
y'all familiar?
Oh my god, I really thought you were
Very
gonna do
much
Cats.
so.
So, ew, surprise.
Wait,
I have my
no,
opinions
you
on
need
Cats,
to
but
you
we'll
need to
talk about it
clarify
later.
that. Why the fuck did you think I was gonna do Cats?
I don't know, Aaron. I feel like you like cats, and I feel like you've talked about cats to
I
me.
do.
Well, not on the podcast, but like to me.
Yeah, I
quite a number
have.
of times. And you also recommended that I read the T.S. Eliot poetry book that Cats was based off of, and I literally did. It was my first book of 2020.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, you
And-
actually did! Oh my god, my heart is touched.
Yeah, I loved it. It was really charming. It was really sweet. It was racist.
Yeah. Oh, that's why. Because you know what? We started this call like talking about some logistics stuff, and I was like, oh, I need to preface this because it's kind of racist. But you know what? Actually, that can be said about a lot of musicals. Let's be real.
Honestly, yes.
True.
Okay, yeah, I'm a Phantom of the Opera stan. I love
Oh
Phantom
my
of the
God.
Opera.
I'm so
Um,
excited to talk about this
Me too,
today.
but I have yet to see the Broadway show. I've only seen the movie with Queen Emmy Rossum.
Yes,
I'm
oh
obsessed.
my
I'm
God.
obsessed with her.
Love her so much. Yeah, so Phantom of the Opera is the longest running musical that's been on Broadway. And I unfortunately have not seen it myself either. I have listened to the soundtrack, I've watched the movie, I even read the book that it was based off of
My
from
God.
my love of Phantom. And it was my first time listening to musical like score from my parents. Like they had seen the musical themselves, like they had gone on a date and watched it, and it was like really romantic. So that was like something that they had shared with us, and it was really sweet. So that was my like first exposure to musicals, and like since then, like I still listen to it and I get chills. Like I literally get chills listening to it.
Literally, Masquerade. It literally destroys my life every time I listen to it. It is so good.
When they play the Masquerade reprise, how do you pronounce that actually?
Reprise, I think.
Excuse me.
Reprise? No, I think it's reprise.
Yes, we are 3 college-educated women.
Okay, but
Literally
none of
cannot
us
speak English.
studied English. You were bio, I was talks, and Liz was graphic design. So you got a bunch of
But
losers.
we all took the St. John's Core required 2 English classes, did we not, ladies?
No, I didn't, because I transferred in with 2 English credits, so I didn't have to.
Oh wow,
Yeah, I
okay,
think
that
I
was
transferred
really a
in with
rhetorical
some
question.
credits, so I didn't have to take all of that. But anyway, I had, like, whenever I hear the Masquerade, like, reprise play into any of, like, the other songs, like, it literally, like, gives me chills. It gives me chills. So
good. I really do be out here Millie rocking to Masquerade.
Shut the fuck
you
up.
can't see, but Liz is furiously merely rocking right now.
Arms are flapping in the breeze, 1,000 miles an hour.
Just like Aaron's
Literally. I think that Phantom had probably messed me up for in terms of like my idea of romance, but that's okay because in the long run.
What do you mean they don't have a wax figurine of me in a wedding gown? What do you mean?
Oh my god.
Phantom is like a whole thing. So like what I love about this is that it's entirely like wild on every level. So the book that it's based off of, and before I really get into how much I love it, like let me just say like as I mentioned earlier, it is kind of racist. Like there are these problematic aspects to it, and they're like characters who are very much embodiments of like racist caricatures, like the Persian specifically is one that comes to mind immediately, but also like Christine doesn't really have much autonomy when it comes to her romantic interests and her situation, and her choices are really piss poor between Raoul and the Phantom. Like she's stuck in this scenario where she's like poor and kind of like coming from a terrible background, and now she's in this opera house that's like super haunted. But you know, all of that aside, I'm not going to be talking about all the problematic aspects of it. We're here to talk about what we're feral for. And with that, I'm putting on my rose-colored glasses, and I'm going to pretend I don't see any of the red flags. You know what I mean? They just look like flags, baby. So, the original book by Gaston Leroux had a lot of these characters, and I mean, the musical stays pretty true to the story, but for anyone who doesn't know, it's basically like Christine is a choir girl at this opera house that is supposedly haunted, and she ends up singing for the opera house in place of the main girl, and her former childhood best friend, Raoul, sees her and is like, wow, I forgot how much I'm in love with you that I am, and tries to woo her, while the Phantom, who is this disfigured person named Eric, who is haunting the opera, is like acting as her guardian angel and the angel of music and training her, and it spirals into this whole thing where like it becomes this love triangle between the three of them.
His name is Eric?
His name is Eric, yeah.
Yeah, I did not know that.
This is news to me.
Is it? Oh.
Yeah, they talk about it in the movie?
In the book, yeah, but I don't know
No, the movie. I asked about the movie.
Well, I'm talking about the book, ma'am, so if you could stay on curriculum, I'd really appreciate it.
Oh my god.
I'm coming for Liz's neck.
Yikes, literally coming for my neck. We're not even 15 minutes into this call, and you're
Listen,
hands wrapped around my throat.
I'm driving the fucking vehicle right now, and I don't have a license. So, on to the next point.
Mood.
What I love about the book is that the author opens the story to be like, so this is based off of the Paris House Opera, where they were apparently, like, haunted by an apparition that would, like, haunt the opera house, and, like, a chandelier actually did fall, and they were like, there's a phantom here. And he goes, I want everyone to know, like, this story is based off of him because he's real. He is real.
Oh my god.
He lives a real life.
Is a Phantom of the Opera a cryptid?
Was Eric a cryptid? Like, does Eric count as a cryptid? Back to episode 1, baby. But it was really great, in terms of, like, it was, like, epic and a mystery and whatever, and then Andrew Lloyd Webber was like, this hits all of my marks. He was like, I can put a soprano in there and just fucking go hog wild. I can put in some rock shit, and I'm gonna mix fucking organ playing with a harpsichord and also a bass line. Because you know what? I can do whatever the fuck I want. I'm fucking Andrew Lloyd Webber, bitch. What are y'all gonna do?
Okay, but he kind of snapped.
He fucking snapped.
He really did. He really did.
It's just an incredible experience, like the combination of musical genre mixing with the, like, lyricism of it all. And also I liked the fact that, like, they had really taken the almost, like, Greek mythology, that the original story was probably based off of, like, Cupid and Psyche, who had, like, where this, like, dark, mysterious figure, like, kidnaps but kind of saves the girl from, like, these unfortunate circumstances, but then she unmasks him, and it, like, is this whole betrayal of being, like, seen and perceived, but she doesn't actually think it's all that. So, like, it's a lot of that involved. But I think that, like, what he did was really create this, like, cultural phenomenon from a story that no one really liked. Like, Phantom of the Opera was, like, a story that the novel didn't sell well when it first came out, and the and all the adaptations of it were, like, pretty good, but not really, like, as widely received. And then Andrew Lloyd Webber went off, and everyone now, like, loves it. It's, like, insane. There's the sequel, there's just, like, all kinds of shit that's happening, and it's still something that's so pertinent and still so pervasive through our culture. And I think that there's a surprising amount of Phantom references that people use that are just very subtly, like, imbued into our culture, and I think it's changed the way that, like, Broadway and the way that, like, Broadway can affect popular culture. Because it's not really, like, Broadway is almost, like, kind of inaccessible, but also, like, very widely, like, sought after, and it's still, like, a very popular medium. So there's that, like, balance that's struck, and I think that, like, Andrew Lloyd Webber is, like, one of the keystones to that. Like, it's undeniable that Phantom and his work in general has, like, played a big part in all of that, if that makes sense.
No, totally. I mean, Phantom of the Opera to me was, like, my mom also was, like, absolutely feral for it, so, like, I watched the movie when I probably was, like, way too young to watch the movie and to, like, understand, like, what was going on. And, like, now I'm sure if I watch it now, I'm gonna be like, oh, yikes, this is not good, but whatever. Music slaps. We always had that playing, like, in my mom's minivan. Like, we were obsessed with it. My best friend in elementary school, her mother was absolutely feral for Phantom of the Opera. That was literally all we listened to whenever she was, like, driving us places. Mm-hmm. It was constantly on in her house. Like, I was no escaping, literally no escaping.
It's everywhere.
Yeah. And I remember, like, I think it was high school, end of middle school, beginning of high school, but, like, all my friends were absolutely feral with getting Broadway tickets. Like, everyone was like, we have to go see Phantom of the Opera. The same friend from elementary school literally went to go see it, like, 7 times.
Oh my god. I'm jealous. I want to see it so badly, but
I want to see it
single,
too.
So.
What?
I feel like Phantom has such a warm place in my heart, but in like such a weird way, and I still have this like romantic attachment to it, if that makes sense. And I know that's super problematic, but that's on me. So
And
I know. You know what? I've like, as I've gotten older, I like sympathize with Christine in a lot of ways, and I really, really, really start to like Raul and Christine's like love, and I like love how much they are like supportive of each other, and like she, like in the actual song, All I Ask of You, like I start to really like it more and more as I get older, but every single time I end up like listening to Down Once More, which is the part where Eric the Phantom is like singing with Christine and giving Christine the ultimatum and all of that, the more like I still end up sympathizing with the Phantom, and I know that's like super problematic of me, but I like can't help it. I always am like, if he is also a victim of circumstance, even though he's a shitty person for it, like
he was in a circus when he was a baby because he was disfigured. Like, yeah, I mean, you're literally conditioned to feel bad for him.
Yikes.
Yikes. Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, All I Ask of You is an absolute banger.
Yes.
Okay, are we not going to talk about Think of Me?
Think of Me. It's so good.
Every song is just so good. Like,
Yeah.
every song is really so good. Andrew Lloyd Webber literally has us all in a chokehold, and we are slaves to him. That's all I have to say.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You said it.
Should we talk about Gerard Butler as the Phantom?
Okay, I'm laughing because the whole time Erin was talking about him, or talking about her bit on Phantom of the Opera, I could not remember this man's name, and I just kept thinking Gerald Ford. And I was like, no, that's not, that ain't it.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's Gerard Butler.
Wasn't he also in the movie version of Les Mis? Is that him?
No.
That's Russell Crowe.
Really mixing up our white men
Anyway,
here.
sorry, I couldn't get the white men figured out.
No, but I feel like those two are like white men that look very
They
similar.
like look the same.
You know, there's like strands of white men that all look the same. Like, I cannot, for the life
No,
of me,
they literally
never.
look like pugs.
No, like Adam Sandler, Ben Stiller, and Steve Carell are all the same person to me.
Wait, what?
After Uncut Gems, I can see Adam Sandler in an entirely new light. I saw it twice.
Adam Sandler is probably my least favorite out of all of them.
Ugh.
You clearly have not seen Uncut Gems. So
I have not.
that's all I'm gonna say on that.
Anyway, so
Also, sorry.
I was just gonna make a point that I think Gerard Butler as a Phantom of the Opera and like the way that he is the Phantom and also like his singing voice is very akin to what's his face in Mamma Mia. What is that guy's name? Pierce Brosnan.
Oh my god.
Pierce Brosnan can't sing for shit, but he just like puts so much of his heart and soul into it that it's like good, and I feel like it's kind of the same.
I don't
Like, is he
listen
a good
to
singer?
the movie version of the soundtrack. I listen to the actual Broadway one because I have some sense of culture.
I am completely uncultured. I prefer the Walmart version to.
Oh my god.
To the Gucci.
Erin, do you have, I don't know how into it you are, but do you have opinions on the different actors that play Christine and the Phantom, or are you not that deep into it?
I don't like getting into that kind of stuff. Like, I don't really have that kind of preference on that. I know that's, like, super controversial, but I think my thing is that, like, because my understanding of the musical comes from a place where I have treated the book as a real source of the actual material, that like it feels like all of them are interpretations of an already existing body of work, and because that body of work is a book, with its own kind of deeper characterizations, deeper characters, and like its own plot. It feels very much like none of them will ever amount to that. So I guess that's why in terms of Phantom, I don't feel that kind of like care for it. And also because when I was growing up and listening to it, my parents would intermix the soundtracks all the time that they kind of fused in my head a little bit, so I really can't. Sometimes I can't differentiate between them.
Okay, valid.
Like sometimes the versions will just kind of mind meld in my own head, and it just like none of it sounds like the way I grew up with it. But that's just because like they would always like shuffle it, I guess, just to like fuck with my little tiny pea brain and be like, this is gonna fuck her up. Yes.
Oh God.
I'm gonna do that to my kids, but I'm gonna wreck their vocabulary.
DJ to traumatize those babies. Am I right?
Yep. My plan is to teach them the wrong words for things.
I hate this. I hate this.
You know what? I didn't even know we were having babies in this economy.
Honest to God, we probably won't, because the world will end before we get to that.
Anyway,
point, so.
That's the next podcast episode. Having kids? Yes or no?
Stop deciding what our next podcast episodes are, for a bit, okay? This isn't funny. Stop being funny.
People are gonna start having expectations.
No one's ever gonna expect anything from this. Let's be real.
Literally a burning trash can is all this
the literal dumpster fire.
Yeah, speaking of dumpster fire, I forgot to pose the question that I had come up with. So, Heather, we usually pose a question before we actually go into what we are going to talk about, so that way we can seek to answer that question as we go through our topics. And like I said, I'm the most prepared. So, the question that I came up with, what is the title of our Franken musical? Because we're going to mix all of our musicals together into a Frankenstein monster kind of thing. And what Tony would it win?
Oh my God.
I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with that question.
So we have Phantom on board. And who would like to go next? Heather, would you like to go, or Liz?
Liz, go.
Who's going to take the first fucking bullet?
Okay. I'll go. I'm going. Okay, so I've definitely mentioned this before on, I think, the last episode of the podcast, in reference to our Lord and Savior, Leah Michelle. But the musical that I'm going to be talking about is called Spring Awakening.
I fucking knew it.
I knew it.
Everyone could see it coming from 10 miles away. We know that I can't like anything in moderation, and this is one of them. Does anyone know what this is about?
You had mentioned specifically.
Isn't it teen angst and sex?
It's literally just a bunch of German teenagers.
Horny.
Literally horny German teenagers.
Horny.
Yeah.
Horny as shit.
Yep, everyone in this musical is horny. There's not one soul that is not horny.
Oh my God.
So essentially it's just a bunch of German teenagers that are like coming into their sexuality and like growing up and like learning about sex and being like, what is going on with my body and mind, and I'm confused. And so there's about 5,000 characters, so I figured I would talk about like 7 of them so that we can get a general understanding of what the plot is. Mm-hmm. So we start off with our queen, Wendla, who is played by Leah Michelle when the show was on Broadway. She's this like virginal character. She is completely babied. She is the youngest in this family. She literally doesn't understand anything. She's like just kind of going through puberty and like growing into her body. And like the opening scene of the musical is her like coming out in this like very, very short dress, and she's like, I put on this dress that I found in my closet. And her mother's like, you need to cover up because now you have legs and also titties.
As opposed to when you were a baby and had no legs.
Exactly.
You got yitties and legs. That's all you got.
Exactly. So she like still thinks her sister's baby like comes from a stork and shit. So there's her. And then the male protagonist, his name is Melchior, who is this like strong-willed dude, and like the only plot point that he's like relevant for is that he ends up kind of raping Wendla and like gets her pregnant, which kind of sucks. But he's the only one who survives, essentially, is also relevant.
Wow, okay, I actually had no idea, I had no idea what Spring Awakening was about. Ooh.
Yes, it's deep, it's emo, it's horny. It's a lot.
I didn't know they had all these whack-ass names.
They're German.
They're German.
Yeah, I stand by what I said. Whack.
Don't be racist.
I think you mean vac.
Heather, you're perma-banned from this podcast from here on out.
No,
so say your well wishes.
Liz, are you German? Is this why you like it so much?
Are you
like,
German, Liz?
This is part of your roots.
Is this your heritage, being horny?
Oh my god, stop. Don't talk about me like that.
Is this German culture just sex and death?
Yep. Exactly.
And maybe some sausages in between.
Sausages and potatoes.
Y'all got that big ass pretzel or whatever? You got beer in a boot?
Some beers or whatever. October is the only relevant
We are
month.
deadass being so racist.
What?
I know nothing about German culture. I'm so sorry to any potential Germans that may be listening to this.
Thanks, Heather. That's like our lead demographic. Just scare them all away.
Germans who care about our niche interests.
How are you going to talk about 7 German characters that I'm supposed to care about?
Because the music slaps.
Okay.
So going back, Wendla has a couple friends. They're also naive, and one of them is getting beat and raped by her father. So there's that. Melchior's friend Moritz is having, throughout the whole musical, he's having these erotic dreams about his piano teacher, like dreaming about this woman's yitties, and is like, what is happening with me? Yeah, and her legs, which she grew during puberty. And he ends up failing his exams, and he's like begging for his school teacher, who is Melchior's mother, to please pass him so that he's not a failure and so that his father doesn't disown him. But Melchior's mother is like, sorry, no can do. And he ends up killing himself, which is sad.
And, oh my god.
Yeah, but there are 2 characters who are gay.
Mm-hmm.
Which is great.
Liz,
and there's a line...
this kind of emotional like whiplash that you're giving me right now is insane.
Yeah, it's really.
I feel like I'm at fucking Six Flags, baby.
Stop. On the scrambler, getting tossed around.
Deadass.
Yeah, it's really sad, but the music is really good.
What time period does this take place in?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, great.
Hang on, I have the wiki up. It's based on the 1891 German play Spring Awakening.
Oh, okay.
Which I read, and it was boring. So I like the musical better.
So it's like, that explains some of the, like, kind of older-fashioned, I guess, ideas of, like, sexuality and why they're confused, because there's no fucking Google to be like, why is my dick hard?
Oh yeah, exactly. I probably should have prefaced that going into this, because Y'all are probably sitting here going, oh, this is a 21st century musical about these German youths who have no idea what sex is.
Like in some kind of
no.
secluded ass German village who somehow doesn't have internet connection. And I'm imagining them all going through this puberty and confusing time going like, what the fuck is a Google? Why is everyone telling me to Google shit?
Yeah, so like Wendla isn't even in school because women can't go to school. So
oh, this is the kind of time period that we're talking in. Oh wow, my entire
Yep.
I gotta shift focus, man. Holy shit.
exactly. So that's why everyone is like naive and confused and scared.
Doesn't dismiss the rape though.
No, it doesn't. So at the end of the musical, so the whole musical is them pretty much going, what is going on? I'm so confused. Wendla and Melchior are falling in love, and then he ends up kind of forcing himself onto her and raping her in this barn, and that's the end of Act 1, which was kind of jarring. So I saw this at my community theater in the 10th or 11th grade, and my mom bought me tickets for my birthday. And she was like, I got tickets to the play at this like community theater. Like, I'm so excited. It's gonna be you, me, and my high school best friend Taylor, and we're gonna go. So I was hype. I was like, this is great. And like I kind of prefaced Taylor on it. I was like, okay, yeah, like it's kind of heavy, and like here's the music, and like this is kind of what happens. But my mother had no idea what it was about going in, and we went to this community theater and watched this musical. And at the end of Act 1, Melchior literally rips Wendla's dress off of her and rapes her on stage. And it ended, and my mother was like, this is the content you're consuming?
Is everything alright, Liz?
And I was
Everything
like,
okay in there? In that head of
but
yours?
the music slaps. So in Act 2, that's when everyone pretty much dies, and Wendla finds out that she's pregnant, and her mother takes her to this like back village alley, and she goes to get an abortion.
Oh my God.
And ends up dying because abortion isn't a thing. It's essentially just like a coat hanger abortion. And she ends up dying, and Melchior finds out, and he's like, my best friend is dead, my girl is dead, I can't believe that this is my life.
All because they just want to have some sex.
All because there is no sex education. So the moral of this musical is that teach your children about sex. Thank you.
That's actually a really great lesson. What a wild fucking musical that you went with, Liz. I was like thinking about all the possible musicals that you would have gone with, and I was like, I'm not going to talk about a couple of them because I worry that our choices would overlap a lot. But I'm glad that you went in the complete opposite direction and went with this wild shit. I was like so convinced you were going to talk about
Into the Woods.
Yeah.
I do love
don't
Into
know.
the Woods.
I thought you were going to talk about Mamma Mia. I don't know why.
Oh, I didn't even consider Mamma Mia as an option, to be honest.
Yeah.
Ma'am.
I stand Mamma Mia. Mamma Mia is my entire life.
It's cute.
It's cute. Look at her. Musical snob.
Look at her.
I like Mamma Mia, but it's not my favorite.
I think that, like, we have to preface Heather, in saying that Heather has seen so many and knows a lot about musicals and is, like, our local expert on musical content and musical things.
Not
and, like,
really.
if I ever get into something with a musical, like, I know the first person that I would ever turn to is Heather.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
she just knows
Same.
everything, and like I feel like she's always on top of things no matter what it is. Like even if it's something that she's like only slightly remotely interested in, she'll already be on the know about everything that there is to know. So I'm very curious to see what you would come up with. And I know that you said you didn't prepare much, but I was like, Heather doesn't need to prepare. She's got her fucking brain. That already is packed full of like musical knowledge.
Galaxy
Like
brain bitch.
Wikipedia
Yes,
wishes
right?
that she was Heather. That's all I have
Literally.
to say about that.
That's so funny. Well, I'll finish my portion of this podcast by saying my two favorite songs from this musical are titled "The Bitch of Living," which relatable, and "Totally Fucked."
Both good songs.
These are
Which
some
is also
slapping
really-
ass names.
Honestly, so
No, the music is really good.
the music is really good. The music is written by this dude named Duncan Sheik, who was like a actual massive staple in my childhood growing up. Like my dad constantly had his shit on.
Oh wow.
He's like a 90s alternative rock icon, I guess. He has like one really big hit that was super huge. And yeah, so he wrote the musical, or he wrote the music for this musical, which is a big reason why I had gotten so into it, because I really, really still love him. And yeah, he also wrote music for American Psycho, the musical, which I know absolutely nothing about, but I'm sure
it didn't do that well.
Yeah, I knew that.
There's some pretty hardcore fans.
So yeah,
those names slap. And what a like it has such a bright name, but it is so dark. Holy shit. What the
it
fuck?
really is. It's really intense.
That's wild. I didn't know.
Also-
I mean, I didn't know anything about it other than horny. So
Horny and sad.
horny, sad, very tragic. Heather, I hope you didn't bring a tragedy, because fandom is technically a tragedy.
I mean,
Liz
yeah,
just brought us a
Spring
real
Awakening is
sad
also a
story,
tragedy.
so
I couldn't really choose which one to talk about, so I don't know. I'm gonna just pick one and roll with it. But I think you guys know.
Can I guess? Can I guess?
No. Yes.
Hades Town?
Hades Sound.
Yes, bitch.
How did we know? How did we know?
It was either that or Beetlejuice.
No, I love Beetlejuice, but I wasn't gonna talk about it. It was either Hades Town or The Prom.
Oh, right.
Yeah. We love the gays.
The gays stay winning.
Yes, but I decided to talk about Hades Town because I think there's more material to talk about. Anyway, is it my turn? Are you done? Are you done, Liz?
Yeah, I was just going to say that it was revised in 2015 with deaf singers, which I thought was fun and interesting.
What?
Oh.
That's
Yeah, it was a lot of,
wild.
It's really great. A lot of sign language. I wish I had seen it, but I didn't because I saw that it was deaf people, and I was like, that can't be.
Oh my god!
good.
You said the whole time. I thought you said death, like heavy metal.
No,
death metal?
Okay, this whole musical being done in like screamo. I just misheard you. And then when you said sign language, I was like, oh.
Oh, you mean like
Definitely.
accessibility, not like
Exactly.
an entire genre shift.
Oh, I hate myself.
well, I hate myself because I was like, I'm not going to see it. Meanwhile, it's like, why am I ableist?
Now I
God.
want someone to actually make a death metal remix, remake of
Of Spring
Awakening.
Okay.
I'd pay to see that. Even though I've never seen Spring Awakening, I'd pay to see that.
Oh my god.
Anyway, now I'm done. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm gonna talk about Hades Town and why I love it so much and why it's a fucking masterpiece. And it's fairly new, kind of, in terms of being on Broadway. Premiered last April. Not premiered, opened. Sorry. Wrong terminology. Get it right.
Heather,
Jesus.
come on. We're professionals here.
God.
Sorry.
This is humiliating.
So, Hades Town I first heard about because one of the main actresses in it, Eva Noblezada, I love you, marry me, thanks. Literally obsessed with her. And I first heard about her on Instagram when on my Explore page there was a clip of the Miss Saigon revival that she was a part of. I came across a clip of her and the original queen, Lea Salonga, singing a song together. And Eva played Kim, who Lea originally played in the original production of Miss Saigon. And speaking of Miss Saigon's also really great. Y'all should check it out. Great musical, super sad. Kind of, anyway, a little problematic, but anyway.
A little.
Anyway.
Sorry, I really don't like Miss Saigon, but that's just me.
I don't know what it is.
The music kind of slaps. The story is very white savior-ish. But,
what's that?
Yeah. The music's great. Anyway, so I came across this video of Lea Salonga and Eva Noblezada singing, and I was like, she is great. I'm in love with her. I need more content. So, literally, because we only hyperfixate around here, spiraled on.
We literally started a podcast because we can't stop hyperfixating.
Heather, this is a safe space.
Thank you so much. Anyway, went down a YouTube spiral of Eva content and
ooh, love those.
Like a social media spiral of hers, and saw that she was involved. And I honestly regretting never seeing her in Miss Saigon when it was in New York because I wasn't really a Broadway stan yet. And anyway.
Oh shit.
Whatever.
I didn't realize that you weren't born a Broadway stan, but then I think about it and I'm like, oh yeah, this was actually recent.
Yeah, it was in the last year or two.
Yeah, really.
I've always liked musicals, but I became obsessed a year or two ago. Anyway, saw that she was involved in this production called Hadestown, and I was like, okay, what is this? Looked into it a little bit, and they were doing a production in the West End, which is the London's version of Broadway, and looked into it a little bit. I didn't really know much. I just knew that whenever it transfers to Broadway, I'm going to go see it just because she's in it. And I don't know, I'm trash for any leading woman on Broadway. So naturally, it was happening. And transfers to Broadway. I do a little research. And for anybody who's into Greek myths, it's based on the story of Orpheus and Eurydice. And they incorporate a lot of subtle, not really, actually it's not so subtle, but they incorporate a lot of political themes into it. There's literally a song called Why We Build the Wall.
Boy.
Yeah. It's good. And Hades, who's the king of hell, I guess, is this capitalist,
yeah.
disgusting capitalist asshole who just exploits anyone and everyone around him. And played by a white man. It's great. And
I love Hadestown, so I'm glad that you're talking about it.
Wait, when did you get into Hadestown? I didn't know you were into it.
What are you talking about? I just...
Wait, in all my rambling, I didn't know you were also into it.
Yes, of course I am. It's Greek mythology, ma'am. It checks off all of my boxes.
Ma'am.
True. Anyway, for those who aren't aware of the story of Orpheus and Eurydice, I mean, I'll get into it. They,
Yeah, please school me, because I don't know anything.
Okay, wait. I lost track. I just want to talk about my history with Hadestown first, and then I'll talk about the plot of Hadestown.
Okay,
So, anyway, I was transferring to Broadway, and I was like, gotta go see my wife, Eva. We need to go. So, me and my friend Katie, shout out Katie, I will be forcing her to listen to this. My friend who is also Broadway obsessed, I was like, we gotta go see Eva in Hadestown. And she was like, fuck yeah, because she's sensible and recognizes talent when she sees it. And, yes. And so it transfers to Broadway, and they're in previews. And for those of you who don't know what previews are, it's basically a few weeks in a Broadway production when they're tweaking a show before I guess they go into before they lock everything down on opening night, and they can't make any more like tweaks and changes. So transferred to Broadway. They're in previews. My friend Katie like FaceTimes me like without an appointment. So I'm like, what's up?
An appointment.
This better be good.
Yes, because I only have like, I don't know, maybe 4 people in my life who can FaceTime me without an appointment. And so she FaceTimes me, and I don't know, like, and I'm like, what's up? And she's like, what are you doing tomorrow? I was like, I don't know, working. She's like, okay, what do you do tomorrow? Like, in the afternoon. I was like, nothing. She was like, all right, you got $50? I'm like, yeah, what are we blowing this on? She's like, want to see Hades Town? I was like,
oh my god!
I was like, say that again, because it was such like one of the most highly like anticipated shows this last year. And so I was like, how did you get tickets? She's like, I won the lottery. Now kiss my feet. I was like, okay, I will suck on your feet, Katie Gardella.
Stop,
I will do this.
Enough.
And sorry, didn't mean to drop her full name, but
No, just the fact that
No, it's not that.
Oh,
Heather, you focused on the wrong part of that. Holy shit. You're talking about sucking toes on our podcast, and then you go, oh, sorry, I dropped her last name. No.
So anyway, I was like, yes, I will drop the $50 that I probably didn't have at the moment to go see Hades Town. And literally we went and we got like the orchestra, like 10th row seats. It was fucking amazing.
Oh my god,
and
$50.
Yeah, literally.
To see Hades Town.
I had no idea what any of the music sounded like, because there were like a few different cast recordings, and concept albums before the Broadway version.
Yeah.
Because this musical had been worked on literally since like in middle 2000s or something like that. Like,
yeah,
it's taken
didn't it go through
so long for
good
it
number
to
of
come to Broadway.
changes with like the arrangement of the songs, and they even added a song pretty last minute.
Yeah, truly. So this show has been like a work in progress for literally so long, but I didn't want to listen to any of it because I didn't want like any spoilers. Not spoilers, it's fucking Greek myths, but like I didn't want to go into it with any type of like bias or any type of like expectations. And so I went in not knowing anything. I wasn't even super familiar with the myth of Orpheus and Eurydice. Like I knew kind of like what happens, but I wasn't super familiar. And I went in and it was fucking amazing, and my asshole fell out every time Eva hit a high note. So
oh my god. Heather. I know that we said that you could cuss on this show, but I actually take it back. Only Liz and I can cuss on this show. You gotta keep it PG.
You just need to stop saying these things.
I'm so sorry.
Hello to everyone on their morning commute. Welcome to this hellish landscape that we've created in your ears.
To those who don't know me. Anyway, you can edit that part out.
I'm not editing shit.
Oh my god. Oh god. Anyway, I can't promote this. I
Yes,
can't
can.
Spread my atrocity to other people.
But you saw it. That's exciting. That's amazing. And you said you really didn't get a lot of spoilers for it. So like, I mean, what was your initial reaction to that?
Well, I knew the big spoiler at the end, but I'll talk about it right now because it's a Greek myth. Like, y'all can Google it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to explain the Greek myth that it was based on.
I am.
Yeah, hello,
I'm
right stupid.
Do you want? Sorry. Okay, so Orpheus, Erin, you can chime in anytime because I am not eloquent at all whatsoever.
That's not
but,
true.
Thanks so much.
Stop trying to make her feel better.
Are we gonna start crying?
Stop. I will cry.
So,
Me too.
Anyway, Orpheus and Eurydice, they are these two lovers. Basically, Orpheus what is he? Is he a demigod? Is he a, like, I don't know. He has these like magical powers that like his like singing and like once he played the lyre
Yeah.
makes like
Yeah, you got it.
what does it do? Yeah, kind of just like
He's just like super
it
talented.
like changes shit. Yeah, and it but in Hadestown basically Orpheus is just like this little poor boy who can sing and play in the musical the guitar really well. And Eurydice is like this poor girl, literally homeless, starving, is like fending for herself in this like shitty ass world. So the musical focuses on Orpheus and Eurydice and also this other couple, Hades and Persephone. Hades is like king of the underworld, literally like shitty human, and he is married to Persephone, who is, what is she, like the
goddess of
spring. And so in order for, I think Hades like had this deal with Persephone's like mom, I think.
You're getting the okay. So the
am I fucking this up?
I'm sorry. So the original myth is that Hades Hades had actually kidnapped Persephone and tricked her into eating 6 pomegranate seeds while she was in his realm. And due to the laws of the realms of Hades, and the agreement that they have with Olympus, it goes that because she had eaten the 6 pomegranate seeds for 6 months out of the year, she needs to spend time with her husband Hades, and for that reason winter exists. Her being the goddess of spring, whenever she comes back, her mother Demeter, the goddess of bounty and harvest, celebrates, and in their joyous reunion every year, a bountiful harvest is bound to come, warm weather, all of that. But their marriage is oftentimes depicted in modern retellings as like a very strained relationship, because it's implied that like he kidnapped her and coerced her, and the most popular paintings and depictions of it, it's the story of the rape of Persephone. And then the story of Orpheus and Eurydice.
Eurydice.
Sorry, I go by the original Latin.
Oh.
We are talking about the musical here?
Yes, I understand, but the myth that it's based off of is basically Orpheus, this very talented musician. Him and Eurydice fall in love, but she dies and is sent to the underworld. And he, in all of his musical talent, creates a song, to mourn his love. And the gods, being merciful and hearing his wonderful song and loving everything that he's doing, they give him a chance. They send him down into Hades' realm, where he pleads with Hades and Persephone to bring back his love, Eurydice. And they agree on the pretense that he doesn't turn around until he gets out of Hades' realm. He can't hear her because she's actually what the Greeks call a shade, in which she's like a spirit that dwells in the underworld, so she doesn't actually embody a physical form, so he can't hear her behind him. Do I spoil it? Go ahead. I'm gonna spoil it. So what happens is, because he can't hear her, he, at the very end of his journey out of Hades' realm, doubts her being behind him and doubts the king of the underworld. So he turns around and she fades away because he didn't trust that Hades would actually keep his end of the deal, and he didn't trust that she was following behind him, and he loses her forever. Because no one, the gods all agree that no human can go to Hades' realm twice and survive. Or no human should be able to do that. It's implied that after he is separated from Eurydice for the last time, he ends up actually becoming immortalized for his musical talent, and like he's oftentimes depicted with his music, and you know, he becomes a muse to a lot of people. So and I think that's actually what ends up happening to him. But you know, obviously being a myth, there's a lot of different interpretations of the story as it progressed, and you know, according to the different interpretations and retellings that had happened. But that's all the like myth background. But obviously this is a modern, semi-modern retelling.
Yeah,
it takes
the
place
musical
in, like,
is super different.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, the main like points of that myth they keep, but they change around a lot of stuff, and I think it's
but they
really
also
cool.
pay homage in a lot of ways, which I really like. Like a lot of references to the symbolism of the characters. Like, and it makes sense that Hades being retold in a modern setting. You know, he is kind of like a greedy capitalist, because like he's literally the god of money. Like that's literally his other title as a Greek god. So you know, I think that they were really smart about the interpretations of the myths, and you know, like you said, there's a lot of political stuff that gets embedded in there, but I think it's really smartly woven together. But I don't want to derail from your talking points on this.
It's okay. You put it into way better words than I would have. I know like 7 words total, probably. I would have been like, it's great, it's smart. Anyway, no, it's so good, and the music is amazing. The like lyrics, and it's a one of those like sung through musicals. So the Broadway soundtrack is the musical. So highly suggest everybody go listen to it. The like musical arrangements, fucking amazing. The horns in this, the violins go off. They really snapped.
You've only seen this once, Heather?
Yes, I've only seen it once, but I've listened to the soundtrack a million times, and seen a lot of clips and stuff. But what was I gonna say? Oh, the like previous versions of it, I think are also really good, but not like my favorite, just because I am biased towards favoring Eva's voice,
Right,
and her interpretations, and so yeah, I think it's really great, and like I think it deserved every Tony it got, which I think they got 8, and they were nominated for like 12 or some shit like that.
It was
That's hot.
Yeah, amazing. Set design, fucking phenomenal. Lighting design, fucking like all of it. Like truly, this show is so good. Like if you can drop the money to go see it, highly recommend. Just once. But
Aaron, want to go?
How are we gonna go?
I know, we're both poor.
I don't know. Tax returns about to hit, aren't they?
But I still gotta
do my
it.
taxes.
Yeah, true.
We're all
Anyway,
responsible adults.
it's also one of the few, if not only, I don't want to like say anything wrong, but I know it's one of the few shows on Broadway right now that has an all like women creative team.
Oh, really?
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Female director, female writer, and I don't know how to say her name, Anais Mitchell. She's like, Hadestown is born out of, it's her brainchild.
I love that.
Yeah, like,
I didn't know it
she's
was
just,
all
like,
women though. That's wild.
Yeah, she's Anais Mitchell. She's this like singer-songwriter. I don't know how she like started this, but I know like the first ever like kind of production, if they even like called it that, but like first like adaptation of it started in Vermont, like way back like 2000 something.
Wow.
And it like is like such a small tiny scale version of what it is now. And but yeah, like they just just kept like fine tuning everything, and like truly, it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
The also what I liked in the Broadway adaptation, they use Hermes as a narrator through the story, so he is like kind of involved in the story because he interacts a lot with Orpheus and like kind of guides him, and he breaks the fourth, like the musical breaks the fourth wall kind of a lot to you know, interact with the audience, and it's so good. It's and also I think different from the myth, or like, you know, what you were saying, Orpheus basically snuck his way into into Hades's I guess Hades Town or Hades's realm,
Mm-hmm.
and to get Eurydice back. And I think in this telling, like, a lot of people kind of interpret this as like, oh, Orpheus ain't shit, because they kind of introduce like the, you know, like the subtext of like climate change a lot in this version of it.
Yeah.
In that, like, in some of the lyrics, you know, when Persephone is up, spring is happening, everybody's happy, you know, the weather's good. They reference a lot of like Hades coming too early to pick her up. And so like the winters are longer, you know, springs are shorter, and that's how they kind of introduce climate change in there. And Orpheus is working on this song to fix the world and to fix everything so that things can go back to how they were. And so, you know, he meets Eurydice, they fall in love, but he's so focused on fixing the world and doing the song and perfecting the song that he doesn't notice Eurydice like dying and making a deal with Hades. Eurydice basically chose security over freedom, and you know, Orpheus is like, oh my god, where's my wife? Hermes is like, listen, there's a back way in, like, if you can get in and get her out, like, you know, you do you, but it's risky. And he's like, I'll do anything for her once she realizes she's gone. And he goes and he like meets Hades, and he's like, you think I'm gonna let anyone out of here? Like, it'll make me look so weak to everybody. Like, how dare you? And Persephone softens him up and is like, come on, like, he loves her, like, please. And so then obviously, you know, Hades makes the deal with Orpheus, and Orpheus, being the doubtful man he is, you know, turns around at the end. The way they do it in the show also is so good. Like, the actual what's it called? I guess choreography, or like stage, I don't know, what do you call it? Like, how they do it. Basically, the stage is set up like there's like these three like layers of circles that kind of just turn. And so in a lot of the choreography, they're walking on the stage, but they're staying in the same spot because the circle's like turning. And they incorporate a lot of like spinning and, like, you know, walking and like into their like dancing and choreography, and it's so good. And then like the middle piece drops down, and so the stage kind of looks like a donut, like a little bit, you know what I mean? And a lot of that like represents like people going down into the underworld.
That's so cool.
You know what I mean?
You know what I mean?
Anyway, set design, A1, love Hades Town, would die for it probably. Yeah, I just think it's like one of the greatest, like, I don't know, I came out of that show so like just amazed by the creativity and the talent and the like, oh, it's so insane.
They created this like almost magical world out of an already mythical situation, but it's its own magic. It owns everything in a way that is like entirely, like, yes, it is based off of Greek myths, but like none of the magic exists in the same way. Like, this kind of circumstances are pretty unique, and they've created such a like you said, like the set design and like the creation of it, and even the music. It's all not what you would expect from, like, if you were to tell me like, oh, there's a Greek myth being adapted into a musical, like, I'm thinking some boring shit, like
Harp,
probably
choirs and
like
triangles and wind chimes, kind of.
literally, it feels very Western, but in a way that like isn't aware that poor people exist. But in Hadestown, it's literally like it's a class struggle. It's a environmental struggle. Like you said, like the wall being built, the factory, the train, all of it is like very well put together, and it's so well woven in a way that makes it so unique. And I don't think I've ever seen a Greek myth that was interpreted in modern day in a way that was so bold, and so careless with like, not careless, but like carefree about how it actually took the source material and translated it over. Like it's the most compelling way, and it's the most dramatic that I've seen, and in that way it makes it the most unique.
Also the music itself is so different from like typical Broadway like songs and music. Like it's not very like
it's not your
there's
Wicked shit.
No, it's not like nothing like the golden ages. Like it's not, there's no like tap dancing, there's no like, you know, it's like there's not even like huge like dance numbers, like all the choreography, like you couldn't even tell it was like choreography. It just looks like it just, I don't know, it just looks like it's just, they just do it so well, like it just looks like regular movements,
right? It's like, that's also like Spring Awakening, like it's like a really contemporary approach to like something that is very much like, I am singing and dancing, and there's like pauses in the music, and like a very like traditional kind of Broadway-esque type of music making. I don't know, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, so it's so
I tend to vibe more with like the contemporary musicals.
Yeah, and also for all you Bon Iver hoes out there, Justin Vernon was in one of the early productions, not productions, but like one of the early like concept albums of Hadestown. He played Orpheus.
Like what?
So,
like on stage?
I don't know if it was on stage, but he definitely, there's recordings on Spotify.
You gotta point me in those directions, please. That direction.
I mean, literally just look up Hadestown on Spotify, and then you'll see like.
Can you just send? Here we go.
Okay.
You know, we had to actually put together a fucking playlist for this bitch to listen to any kind of rap, so I'm not surprised that we have to hold her hand to get her to listen to something.
Did we not see Chance the Rapper in Boston?
Huh?
We did see Chance the Rapper in Boston. We saw Bon Iver, and then immediately following we saw Chance the Rapper.
That's very true.
That is wild.
Okay, so let's talk about this playlist.
Oh, Jesus.
They roped my girlfriend into this, and it was all of my friends.
Liz, are you gay?
Oh, surprise.
It's not a surprise. That's all we talked about last episode.
I'm coming out on this podcast.
We started this podcast going, we're gay. Anyway, here are some cryptids.
Literally.
Nessie is a lesbian.
Sapphics going absolutely feral.
roped my beloved girlfriend into making this playlist for me. It's just a bunch of rap, which is great. But these people are sitting here acting. Okay, so they started a group chat, literally renamed it to Get Liz into Rap Initiative. Literally acting like I have not listened to a singular rap song in my entire life, as if I'm not throwing ass to broccoli every day of my life.
Throwing ass to broccoli. Holy shit.
Is that Lil Yachty? No, I don't think so.
I don't know.
No, Drap. Sorry.
The song's not even that good. It just screams like sophomore year of college to me.
I mean, that's why I think I like it so much.
It's like those fall semester 2016 memories really coming back.
I'm being thrown back to St. John's, like near those basketball courts by Monty's, where they would literally just blast music.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. That and Big Sean Bounce Back.
Oh my god.
Same type of feral energy.
Jesus fucking Christ. I'm the one who roped everyone in, and I'm the one who got your girlfriend involved, because I was like, I literally texted Anne and this was the genesis of it all, and I went, Liz only listens to shit when you share it with her, so you gotta put this together.
I mean,
and she goes,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, she was so honored, honestly, that she was included. She was like, oh my god, I love that Erin texted me. And I was like, yeah, that is really sweet. Also, why do these people think I don't listen to rap?
Your two prime examples have been Broccoli and Bounce Back by Big Sean. So your case is really on some fucking thin ass ice.
Okay, but like, I don't listen to jazz. Are you gonna start a Get Liz into Jazz initiative?
It's not about getting you into every genre of music. It's just the fact that like, not enough of your music
stubborn?
is rap. And also, I have talked to both Deirdre and Anne and to get enough of a sense that they also want you to listen to more rap. So this is just in everyone's best interest. And like, not to be like you like say anything about your taste, because you have impeccable taste. But we're just actually trying to bring you down to our level, if anything.
So you're trying to make my taste shit, is what you're saying? No, I'm kidding.
Okay, here we go. Yeah.
Fucking
Say your
brown-nosed
fucking
ass,
piece.
Erin.
Literally sucking my ass. You're just impeccable, but...
Jesus Christ, this is the worst episode that we are. This is the most
horrible.
audibly challenging.
Okay. But I listened to the playlist. That was good.
Okay, yeah, I'll ask this question later. But yeah, on the topic of musicals, which is what we were supposed to be talking about.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
The question that we had. Well, actually, Heather, is there anything else that you want to bring up about Hadestown before we jump into our question?
Let's see.
What's your favorite song?
Hadestown. Oh my god, I can't even choose, but I would say, one of my few favorites is Hey Little Songbird, which is when Hades and Eurydice first meet, and he's trying to convince her to take the deal and go down into Hadestown with her, because he's like, it's okay, listen. Patrick Page, who plays Hades, has the deepest voice I've ever fucking heard. And he plays like such a creepy man so well, because his voice is so deep. Like, the first time I heard it, which is when I saw the show, I peed.
A lot or a little?
No, I didn't pee, but I metaphorically peed myself, because it was just so unexpected. Like, I didn't know that voice was gonna come out of him. Anyway, Hey Little Songbird is a really good song. He's, trying to convince Eurydice, like, why are you still here with Orpheus? Like, you're literally starving. He doesn't give a fuck because he wants to write this perfect song, and he's betraying you because in your wedding vows he said he would never let you live like this, and here you are living like this. Come be with me. I'll take care of you. Like, let's go. And so Eurydice's part in this song is really good too, like vocally, just because I'm a slut for Eva. Great song. She's like, Orpheus, like, where are you? Like, I don't want to do this, but I might have to because I'm so hungry. And it's just like, it's really good. So that's a really good song. Also, probably Chant 1 and also Chant 2. Those songs focus on Hades being down in the underworld, just kind of singing about the underworld. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain if you don't have like the full context of the show. But anyway, they slap.
Incredible. Yeah, fucking Hadestown is incredible.
The cast is
I want to see
insane.
it so badly. What?
The cast, like, it's insane. Everybody's so talented.
Oh my god, yeah. And to wrap up, we have a question to answer. So if we were to create a Franken musical out of the 3 musicals that we all picked, congratulations everyone on picking the most depressing ass fucking musicals that are out.
Literally
Um,
the 3 saddest musicals in the world.
Okay, what would this be? It could be
What would it be?
Phantom of the Springtown.
Wow.
Yeah, I love it.
You know, people are gonna think that we planned this, but actually, no. Heather is just a fucking genius.
Or it could be Hades Spring Opera.
Hades Spring Opera. I'd see it. The most depressing musical out.
Hades Opera Awakening.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one too.
Ooh. Hades Opera Awakening. We have to stand. Now, which Tony would Hades Opera Awakening win?
Best book. All depressing. Best book. Best lead actor in a musical if Patrick Page is playing, well, I guess supporting actor. He's not really a lead. Best musical.
Period.
Best musical, period. I'm trying to think of all the other categories.
I don't know any Tony categories.
There's so many. There's like best lighting design, best set design, best costumes.
I don't think we would win any of those because I'm thinking about it and I'm like, the 3 aesthetics, like pre-19, like fucking deadass, like 18th century, or not 18th century, but 19th century Germany. A French opera house.
We could win best set design.
I think so.
Phantom of the Opera has really good set design, and so
it does, but it clashes with Hades Town, doesn't it?
But
no. If you put them together, it should be fine.
Yeah, it's an opera house in the underworld.
That's kind of cool.
Oh, that would slap. Okay, yes. Never mind.
You only have to include a barn from.
Where everyone gets fucking raped. Okay. We'll include your rape barn.
The ensemble in this musical can be all the angsty teenagers.
All the angsty, horny teenagers from Spring.
Yeah.
Singing opera.
The Phantom will be so jealous of Hades for the power that he has over everybody.
Being the angstiest boy.
I mean, you could argue that Hades and the Phantom of the Opera are essentially the same because Hades lives in the underworld and the Phantom of the Opera lives in this like cave system underneath the opera house.
You can make that analogy because when at the end, like Christine is leaving, he's like, turn away and don't look back and like save yourself, like go now before it's too late, like kind of thing.
Also, isn't his like basement on fire when she's leaving?
Yeah.
Or is that just the opera house? I can't remember.
It because the people are rioting, and like he had this whole plan to like blow up the whole opera house, so yeah, like basically everything's on fire.
Also, off track, but one more thing about Hadestown. I also really like how they included the Fates in this.
Yes.
Harmonies on point. Also, I love that they play instruments while they're singing. Pretty iconic. They got the violin, they got the accordion, all while they're perfect, harmonizing with each other. Ugh, iconic. Anyway, that was the last thing.
We absolutely stan. Thank you for creating this Franken musical with us and sharing Hadestown. This was so exciting. You also gave a lot of technical knowledge and insight that I didn't end up going into, and like Liz and I did not touch into, but I'm glad that you had included those details because it really did help like me to get a better understanding of Hadestown than I even knew. So I really like that part that you had included. And there's like a lot there that like goes into it. Like it's not just like singing and dancing, like there's the entire set, like actually, like you said, giving them costumes, and putting that all together and like making sure that it all fits to the tone of the story and what's going on. And there's just like so much that goes into it, that we really don't see until like it comes into the final product. But like you said, like Hadestown has been in production for so long, so there's a lot behind the scenes to be appreciated, and understood. on like on a greater level, especially as it jumps from theater to theater and kind of evolves into something whole for Broadway.
Yeah, you know a lot.
Rachel Chafkin, who is the director of Hadestown, is involved in a musical adaptation of Moby Dick. Literally, I know nothing about it. I truly know nothing about it. I only know that its title is Moby Dick and that she's the director of it, and I trust her with my entire life.
Is it based on the novel?
I have no idea, but they had their out-of-town tryouts in Boston. For those who don't know, out-of-town tryouts for Broadway shows basically is like what it sounds. They will do a production outside of New York to test it and see how it does in that audience, and they'll usually change it up a little from a little or a lot based whatever if it transfers to Broadway. But they did their out-of-town production in Boston recently. It closed a few weeks ago, and I heard it was great. So if it has a Broadway transfer, I am definitely going to see it.
Ooh. Well, let us know. Keep us posted. And thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of Retrograde. This was wild.
I could talk about musicals forever.
We'll probably have a part 2 because I know that while I was looking into researching for this, I was having to whittle down my list and going I would love to talk about this, but we only want to bring in one. So until we kind of, I guess, burn through some more topics, I'm sure we're going to have another episode, and you're more than welcome to join every single musical episode that we have.
Amazing.
The rule is that it has to be happy.
Oh my god.
Yeah, literally, we picked
so that we're
3
not
tragedies, so...
I would talk about the prom.
Oh
there you go.
God.
My gay heart.
Cry because it's wholesome.
All of our collective gay heart.
We are all gay here. Thank you for joining our gay podcast.
That's all it is.
Of course, our gay podcast episode is the musical one. Fucking stereotypical ass gays. I hate us.
Oh my god.
I love it.
All right.
Anyways, join us next week where we talk about comics /
what is next week?
graphic novels.
No, that's not next week.
Oh, what are we talking about next week?
Next week we're talking about webkins.
Fuck,
Oh
I fucked that up. I'm so sorry. Well, spoiler for the not next one, but the one afterwards. Shit.
Keep you interested.
Yeah. Oh my god, webkins. Well, what? Wait, hold on. No.
Okay, so not just webkins. Next week we're going to be talking about websites that we were absolutely feral for
as children.
So towards the end of elementary school to the beginning of middle school.
This is going to be so fun. I cannot wait. You're a genius, Liz.
I can't wait to expose my absolute webkins addiction.
It scares me so much, and I'm excited for us to unveil that. So, see y'all next time.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.